Hello, my name is Erica Castillo,
Siaka Sims, once again.
and we will be discussing the topic of sexual harassment. What I think sexual harassment is when somebody can actually touch you inappropriate or say the wrong things at you. Like, example, calling you sweetie, calling you honey. At a workplace, you should not be speaking like that. So if you think about it, if I don't know you and I go like this, hey, how are you doing? If you really think about it, why am I touching you? We are in the workplace environment. So that can be considered. What can that be considered?
Sexual harassment.
And what else do you think about sexual harassment?
My video's coming soon. Check me out. Next video.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Siaka Sean Sims, also known as Chase, that's known now as Scrutinizer. But how I feel about sexual harassment is like, if you okay with somebody calling you boo and stuff like that, then that's not really sexual harassment in my mind. Like, people say harassment is if you say boo, if you touch somebody. All right, say if you touch somebody, what if the person actually likes that person, so you can't jump in a situation like sexual harassment? They be taking that too far sometimes. That's just how I feel. So I actually worked in places where people keep saying hey boo, hey sweetie, and like interacting a lot. That's just how they are. They're very nice people. So it's up to how the individuals feel. That's just how I feel.
I think sexual harassment in the workplace, that should happen because of the fact of that creates an uncomfortable environment for coworkers. Because of the fact of, it depends on how comfortable coworkers are with each other, and if you're not that comfortable or not that friendly with coworkers, then it really shouldn't happen like that because, then it's an issue with complimenting someone on the attire they wear or them losing weight or showing their figure. Something like that could just make someone feel uncomfortable, and then if you continuously say something about it, then that person might feel a certain type of way about it. So I think that sexual harassment in the workplace just shouldn't happen at all. That's my opinion.
Sexual harassment, when I think about it, something that's very serious, and in the workplace, it could be anything. Like if you're in a daycare and the child touches the person watching them, and that person touches the child in the wrong way, that kid is traumatized for the rest of his life with sexual harassment, and they'll go through all types of problems. My opinion, I just think it's just ridiculous. I think people should be able to control their urges and things like that. It shouldn't be allowed or accepted at all. But yeah, that's pretty much my opinion. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Chanel James. Well, from my experience, I used to work for New York City Housing Authority 5 years ago, and I took a sexual harassment course, and the definition of it is, well, from my understanding, I thought that sexual harassment then was only when somebody like verbally says something, they try to, come on to you. But the real definition of what sexual harassment, there's actually 3 different kinds. There's one when somebody can make, part 1 is when they make certain comments and they're inappropriate, meaning that they're using, language that's not appropriate in a sexual term. The second part of sexual harassment also can be when you're constantly bothering somebody to want them to do something that makes you uncomfortable, that puts you in an uncompromising position other than what you're used to displaying, meaning that if you're not a person who's very provocative or has that kind of language, and they're kind of like introducing it to you or kind of like trying to push the issue on you, that can be sexual harassment on a second level. The third part of sexual harassment, which a lot of people don't know, is actually called a third-party sexual harassment. And third party can be that it can be a group of people having a conversation about sex or their personal preference, and I can be standing next to them or around them, but because I'm around them, it's still considered to be sexual harassment in a sense because it's invading my space. And it's having this conversation when it's not appropriate to have, especially in the work area. Because in a work area, it's supposed to be professional. You're not supposed to be having these conversations at all, and it can be very distracting for those people when it comes to religion, and and those are things that's private to them. That's where it becomes a bothersome to them, and they disrupt them in order to get their work done. And also, it's very inappropriate to even display those kind of actions to have that conversation. Now, don't get me wrong. We all, may have our general conversations when we're talking to people, and we may joke. And also, it's almost like kind of like coarse joking. And for those people who don't know what coarse joking is, even in the Bible, coarse joking is also referred to as, saying certain things that's not appropriate that makes another person unfeel comfortable when you're supposed to be at a level of respect. So, to each his own as far as what they think what the definition is, but it can be very tricky because a lot of things can be considered as, sexual harassment or even harassment in itself. It just is up to the individual and what their comfortability is, and what they've basically been exposed to, and what they would accept and what they won't expect within their individual space. So that's how I feel about it, and that's some of the facts of what sexual harassment is.